Good morning. This time I'm gonna talk to my camera because we are doing something special this time. We are hiking the Annapurna Circuit in the Himalaya mountains. It's a 15-day hike, depends where you start. We started quite low. We've never done that before, so let's see how it goes. Actually, we started yesterday and we took the bus for like 100 kilometers. The road was so horrible, you cannot imagine. It's like this, but it never got better than this. It's bumpy all the time, and this is the main connection between the two biggest cities in Nepal. So it's not that developed here. But we made it here, and we started yesterday at around 700-800 meters elevation, and now we got up at 5:30 this morning after staying in a super beautiful homestay, and we were lucky with the weather. That's why we also got up early, because as you can see the sun is coming out and it will burn down so heavily. Yeah, we gonna hike up to 5,500 meters, so it's gonna be tough, and that's why it takes a couple of days and weeks. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Alright, today is already day 4 of the hike, and I think the third day was the hardest for us, because we went like 19 kilometers and more than 1,000 meters in altitude. So today we tried to take it a bit more slowly, and we actually got up at 5:30 like every day, but this time we started walking straight away to avoid the sun. And I also have long sleeve now as a sun protection. We saw a couple of people already with really bad sunburns, and yeah, it's really interesting to see how the landscape changes. Now we are in a forest that's like more like a European forest. At the beginning there were banana trees everywhere. Now it's changing a lot. The mountains get steeper and higher. It's so cool to see. We really enjoy it. And also we enjoy staying in the huts, even though they're super basic. They're like, yeah, just having a bed or 2 beds, and that's it actually. There's no sink. You have a toilet. Sometimes it's a hole, sometimes it's a proper toilet. There's no toilet paper, so you have to bring it yourself. And yeah, but sometimes we have Wi-Fi, besides yesterday. So the infrastructure is not that bad. You also have power, but it's gonna get worse and worse the higher we go. So at some point you have to pay for the Wi-Fi, pay for hot showers, and at some point you won't even have hot showers anymore. But we are not there yet, so we enjoy our hot shower every night, which is really good. So today we reached 3,300 meters in altitude, and we still feel good. It's just that it got a bit colder and the air got much drier. But besides that, all good. And we met a lot of people with a guide, because there's actually a law that says that you need a guide, but also the locals don't like this law, so nobody enforces it. And we didn't have any problems at the checkpoints, so it's fine to walk without a guide. We also saw some people hiring a porter. It costs like 20 euros, dollars, whatever, per day. It's super cheap, but we would feel super bad. I don't want them to carry my stuff. So what we tried to do was packing light. We didn't bring that much, and that's the most important thing to make the hike easier. This time I have to record the video from inside, because it's always super windy outside and you wouldn't understand a word. So we went up to 3,300 meters and had the greatest view from our stay. But there we struggled the first time with the cold at night. I mean, there's no heater in the room or anything. And it's also not insulated Often the wind blows through, so you better have a good blanket. But the next morning was nice weather again, so we went uphill, uphill, uphill. Quite exhausting to 3,800 meters, where we had the first symptoms of too much altitude. We both had a headache, but the views were just incredible. We looked at this valley and in the background the mountains that are almost 8,000 meters high. It's just insane. And the landscape also changed a bit. And we didn't sleep up there because it's recommended to climb high but sleep low. So we stayed in Manang, which is the last bigger village where the cars still go. You might have seen that we sometimes walked on the road, but it didn't bother us because there's almost no traffic. But you can go to Manang from the starting point where we started. It's about 90 kilometers, but it would take like 8 hours. That's like 11 kilometers per hour because the roads are just so bad like this. And you don't want to go there by car. And in Manang, we did stay for 3 nights so that our body gets used to the altitude. That's also recommended. And we also went to the local hospital where doctors tell you how to deal with altitude sickness, what you should do, and what you should not do. That was very interesting. So in the next days, we're gonna hike up even further. Sorry for looking so stupid, but the sun is so intense. It's incredible. But as you can see, we made it up to the snow after staying at 4,000 meters and 4,500 meters because it's recommended to not go or to not sleep higher than 500 meters than the night before to get used to the altitude. Also, we took some medicine that helps you get used to it, and I think it helps a lot. But still, we are out of breath up here. We are almost at 5,400 now, almost at the peak. But the oxygen level here is like 50% of the oxygen level at sea level. And today we got up at 3 a.m. in the morning because we had to climb up almost 1,000 meters in altitude, which is a lot, and we were not sure about the weather. Some other guides said it might start raining or snowing in the afternoon, and we definitely want to avoid that. Also, the snow gets more mushy, and that's also not nice. But we put on some crampons. There's some mini spikes. They help a lot. Yeah, and now it's like plus 15 degrees. But when we started in the dark, it was like minus 15 degrees. But there was even some ice inside our water bottle. It was so freezing cold. We didn't feel our feet and hands anymore. But then you still should drink your ice cold water. But now with the sun, it's just amazing. And I can see that we are almost there. Yay, we made it. We already checked in the hotel in the next village and already had a shower. Feels so good. But yeah, we reached the 5,416 meters pass. It's called Thorongla. After day 11, starting from 700 or 800 meters. So it feels really good, and we feel quite lucky that everything turned out pretty well. We were so lucky with the weather. Nothing happened to us. Like, we saw the rescue helicopter, we saw people puking. I mean, this altitude should not be underestimated. So that's why we feel quite grateful. But yeah, after hiking up, which was already super exhausting, the hike down was equally hard. We went down like 1,700 meters. So we feel it in our legs. But we are back to civilization. We have internet again. We even have running water in the bathroom and even a sink, which we didn't have for a while. So all those basic things, you start to appreciate them again. Unfortunately, it's still cold, as you can see, but it's getting warmer and warmer the further we go down. We just need to make some plans for the next days, how far we're gonna hike, and yeah, I'll keep you posted. After crossing the pass, we continued hiking down the valley on the other side, and we were quite surprised how much drier it is here. They were still growing apples on the other side at 3,500 meters, and here it's even lower, but they're growing rocks, or
it's just dusty everywhere. And the worst thing was that there was the strongest wind I've ever experienced. So we kind of had to hail down a jeep to take us the last few kilometers to Johnson. And after arriving there, it was also a bit disappointing. It was not equally nice as on the other side, and we didn't want to hike that much further, anyways. So on this day, we decided that we're gonna stop here. We also had many blisters, and we already hiked for 12 days, and we didn't have a washing machine for 12 days. And especially, we're also sick of sleeping with a beanie and many clothes every night. But yeah, 12 days of hiking is already by far the longest we ever did. We can be proud of ourselves. We did 6,500 meters in altitude. And yeah, our feet also just tell us it's enough for now. But before we end it here, we of course need to get back to Pokhara where we started, and the bus ride was a nightmare. It was the worst bus ride of our lives, even though we did many bus rides in different countries. It was super dangerous. We were driving along some very steep cliffs. At some point, there was also a landslide where we had to stop, and the excavator was digging into that rock for about 1 hour. And in general, the roads didn't really get much better. And at some point, it started also raining. So it took us 10 and a half hours for 160 kilometers, which is quite normal in Nepal, but we would have loved to avoid that. Anyways, we're gonna keep this Annapurna Circuit track with great memories in mind. We had a really nice experience, and I'm gonna stop taking videos at this point because it's so much work. Yeah, and we're just enjoying Pokhara for now, having warm weather and hot showers and like all the nice things that we missed.